So we have seen how to use time module. That's where we have started our journey of understanding how to convert our epo time into date and time. Right? Now let's understand the other important module which consists a combination of both date and time, which is date time. So obviously we'll see some more functions how to convert our basically epo time into date and time, where in time module you have seen with the help of C time and local time. Now we'll see other two important functions, and we'll start understanding how we can combine date and time, replacing, formatting. We'll see some pretty hands-on examples, right? Because first we'll understand date time is a combination of date and time. You split the words, obviously in general terminology. What do you mean by date? It consists of year, month and day. That's general format. You write in English form, in Indian standard. How do you write date? We write day, month and year. But when you go for abroad, you see the numbers change, right? They write month in before and they write day in the middle, and then they go for a year. That's what US standards. So basically, we need to match everything, right? For that reason, we'll understand how to use this date time module. Because basically, if you go for date time module, we'll try to understand what are the possible functions on it, thereby starting our journey with date time module by using two important functions, which are now method and today method. So let's understand how to use them, because basically when you go for now method, it returns the date time class object. Okay. If you want to make it more interesting, what we'll do, generally we'll start with a practical session, right? Okay, so let me go for that. I'll be continuing in my previous file where I'm running, because generally if you remember, CTime has converted our date formatted into string format. Now I don't want to return the both things, so I'll just keep them in comment. I'll just close all these quotations, and where I'll start using to understand how to convert our current date and time by using date time module. So I'll write a Python program for finding current date and time. So you can use any of these methods. You need not worry that which one to use. Anyone will give you the same result, because when you go for local time, you get in the format of structure. When you go for C time, you get in the format of string. That's what we have seen in the previous videos. If you go for date time method, we have some other things. So current date and time, where we can say for finding, we can make it very simple by for finding local date and time. That could be better, because as we are using in IST format, that clearly returns the same objects. So we'll start with now method. So basically this now method will return date time class object. How I am telling that? I'll just show it for you. You will clearly understand. Okay. So first I need to import date time. So when I give import date time, and let me try to give print of directory of date time. Let's see what are the objects which we can get. So when I execute this cell, when I go for directory of date time, you have date, date time. You can just maximize this screen. You can just go for date time underscore CAPA, some different methods. Even if you wanted to know about that thing, because clearly date time is a combination of date and time. So individually you have all these built-in methods in it. So clearly you cannot see now method here, because you just need to call all the methods from that. So basically how do you do that? So you take up, instead of writing this step, you can directly go for executing all the functions from that, because they are available within it. So from date time, you give import star. That's it. Now what you can do, you can give up any variable like n is equal to, when you give date time, when you go for dot, that means those are the possible methods over it. You see now you can find out now method. So when you go for date time dot now, it's present already. So when you just give print of n, where you are trying to get the present date and time. So when you start executing it, there you go. How did you get this? Year, month and day, and time is hour, minute, second, microsecond. See, if it's basically 24-hour format, how does that represents 10, 11, 12, right? When you go for your time zone, when you see in your watch, how does that 24-hour format is represented? In this way only, right? So basically when I say 22, that is basically 10:21 p.m. That's what we follow, right? So generally, if you see, that's a general railway standard format. If you go for checking the railway timings, you see in 24-hour format. That's what we have found the difference in time module and date time module. If it is morning 10 o'clock, it will be 10, but it is night 10:21 45 seconds. So here basically it is hour, year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microsecond. Even if you call from here also, from date time, you just import star and you just call the function a is equal to datetime dot now. You see, returns new datetime object representing current local time. There you go. When you call this a, you get in the format of datetime dot datetime function, because datetime is a class object which is returning the date and time, where we can access independently year, month, day, hour, minute, second. So how do I do that? When I just pass from, I'll just go for scripting mode, it is fine. When I give print of n, I got this result, right? So how do I specify it? How can I get each and everything from that? I'll prove it from interactive mode, where if you go for a dot, what are you going to get over there? You can just check from that a dot year. You see, when you go for a dot year, what is year? 2021. If you go for a dot month, when you go for a dot month, you see it is 2 because we are in February. Then you go for a dot day. A dot day or a dot date will basically give you, when you go for a dot day, it is 9. When you go for a dot date, it is a built-in method. So that is the reason how you are trying to extract the objects from that. In this way, you try to give it. So a dot day, a dot month, a dot year, because date is basically, you can just pass the date into it. That's what we create. When we go for a combination of it, we need to pass in the format of date function itself. We'll be doing that. So as of now, our primary concern is how do we take this hour, minute. When you press a dot, you are going to get all of them, because it's a combination of date and time, where you can clearly see second, you get the second because time is being changing. So if you want to get the exact time, then again what you need to do, you just need to run the function again, that is a is equal to datetime dot now. Again time is being changed. You see, it's 22:24 because time is ticking on, right? That's where, so depending on usage, we can use it. So it is better to go for scripting mode now, where I go for some print format. I define print of date today is, or today is. What I can do, I just start replacing my curly braces over there. It would be easier, right? Or date now, any print format, it's up to you. So date now, where we go for curly braces. Basically, how do you write dates? You give hyphen, right? So curly braces hyphen, curly braces hyphen, and you go for, when you are giving curly braces, that is formatted string with replacement fields, you go for dot format function. Dot format of whatever variables you are trying to give from here. I want to give n dot, because n is nothing but including now function from datetime method or datetime module. You go for n dot day, where it will give you the present day, and in the same way n dot month will give you the present month. So in that way, you need not worry about the remaining things, because our primary concern is to how do you take the result. So n dot year, because in the output you can clearly see it is in the format of year, month and day, that is day of the month. We don't take it as a date, because we generally people call it as date, but it is generally day of the month. That's what system is notated, and system is being available, the time format. So time now is same curly braces, colon, curly braces. We don't mind of seconds, right? If you want second, keep one more curly braces. It's up to you. Generally, we split the time with colon. That is the reason I gave in that way. So if you go for again dot format of, you may get a doubt, where are we going to use this? We'll be using such kind of thing when you wanted to build some kind of stopwatch application, because you need to have some time concept. That is the reason when we discussed about time module, I told you the importance of sleep. That's where it waits for a split second. how many number of seconds we pass into it. That's where you combine this logic and that logic. That is the reason I always say there is nothing like core or advanced in Python. It's all about how you relate each and every functionality and how you believe or how you create your own module. That's it. Now when you start executing this, yeah, now it's clear. When you start executing this, automatically you get the present date. So date now, it's 9/2/2021. Time now is 22:27:37. According to the number of seconds being passed, you can exactly get that. So this is how, with the help of now method, which returns datetime class object, you are able to get the present date and time. So this is one very easy way. How do you get the present date and time? So this is where we have taken the help of now method. So this is one way where if you start executing this continuously, the time is being changed. You can see the change in time. Because as we are using a 24-hour format, you can expect this in 22. That means 12 plus 10. I don't think you might find difficult this, because everyone know the 24-hour format, right? We are 20 to 27 lesson, that is around 10:27 p.m. Now the day will move on. The day will be entered into 10:02, right? That's what happens. That is the reason I'm not digging much into that. My intention is to make you understand how does we use now method and what is the difference between local time and now method. Because now method is present in date time and local time is present in time module, right? So that's where if you directly run this, that's the reason if you clearly see, when we have run it from interactive mode, we got the datetime object. So if I give print function, automatically this entire thing will be removed and you can clearly see year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microsecond, right? Now let's start another function where you try to get present or today's date and time, where I'll write a Python program to get to know today's date and time. That's what we'll be doing it now. Already we got by using now method, and you may get doubt, why should I go for another method? Because you have multiple things in date time. You can make date separately, and if you want to specifically want time, you can use time module. Because even when we go for the next functions in date time, we'll combine date and time, where we'll pass our own date and we'll give our own time. That's what we'll be doing, where you feel some interesting part over there. So obviously, if I don't want to keep all these things, I'll just keep quotations here. Because anyways, I wanted to run multiple functions, I'll keep star only here, because I don't want to take each and every function like combine, replace, string formatting. I just keep it as star. Now I start changing my program here, where I want to use today function, because today will generally give you today date. That's what we try to go for. Today of date time will give you, because everything is an object in Python. So here today will give you today date and time. How do we do that? Let's go for that. So I'll give TDM, some variable name. TDM is equal to, we'll directly fetch it from datetime dot today. So you see, the object returning is current date or date time. So when you start printing this, you will find some difference, but exactly they provide the same result as now method, where you get first year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microsecond. Even you call from here, from date time, you import star and you give a is equal to, just take a variable and you give today method here. Obviously you get in the format of datetime object only, but there is one more advantage where we can directly fetch the date also. That's where we use today method, where today method is specifically having date class. So today method is having specifically date class, where we can directly get only the date, gives the date only. For that reason we'll be using it. So for that you can name one more variable, and instead of date time you can directly take date dot. So obviously again you can fetch from this today. See, that's what we find difference. So you can only get present date instead of time. That's it. You can see 2021 to 09, year, month, day, because it is printing in the format of date time. It always takes year in the beginning. So this is how we can use now method or today method. Both of them will give you the same result, but the advantage of today method is we can get specifically date class. If you want to get time, we can go for datetime.time, because time method is different and datetime module is different, where we are trying to fetch the present date and time by using now method and today method. So it's in user hands whether we go for now or today, because now and today are present in date time, whereas C time and local time are present in time module. So with the help of understanding this, we'll use the same concept where we'll go for combining date and time, replacing date and time, formatting date and time. But make sure you would be simple how to use this date time module.